G'day, hi and welcome. All right, it's a lovely day. Just went out for ride number 44. And it was a beautiful ride, but I might have some bad news. I don't know what's going on with my bike. It's starting to run rough, particularly at low RPM, but it's through, if you know what to listen for, it's through the entire rev range, so it's starting to hesitate a bit. But I've had a glitch. I think this is the third time it's happened with this bike, and I probably got about 8,000, 9,000. Well, I know I have over 8,000 kilometers on this bike since I bought it last year, and I think I put probably, I'll have to check the mileage, but probably about 2,000 or 3,000 kilometers on it this year so far. And the bike is still smooth, but I'm getting this vibration. Now, I'm trying to pinpoint whether it's coming out of the chassis, which I don't think it is. I just adjust my chain, and my alignment seems good, so judging by my tires, everything seems normal there. Judge the chain, so it's not coming from there. I know, but there's a hesitation from the engine, and it happens between 4,000 and 5,000 RPM. Now these bikes are notorious at 4,500 RPM. They do a funky thing with the fueling, and it's a little bit rough, but not that rough. This is starting to get the hesitation and buntiness. You know, the RPM holds kind of steady, but the exhaust note is really, it sounds like, it sounds like the timing's out or something like that. But then something really, this has happened to me. Now it happens when I stop the bike somewhere. For example, today I stopped at the bank to get my rent money. I start up the bike starts up. The bike right now is starting fine. There's no problem there. I take off, first gear, second gear, and I'm doing 50 clicks, which is about 30 miles an hour, and I'm trying to hold it on the speed limit at 5,000 RPM, and the bike starts going, it doesn't really seem to be losing power. It just sounds off, and it feels a little rough. But then what'll happen, and this happened to me on a turn today, especially on the roughest little kind of gradient of a road, coming back home. Thank God for my superior riding skills. The dash goes out, the temperature thing, basically, the numbers come up as if you were just starting the bike. It's like the dash resets itself, and then you get a drop and then in the RPM a little bit, and then it'll spike up to from 5 to say 7,000 or something like that. So it's like, and it does that. I have no idea what the hell that could be. If you've ever had that happen to you on any bike, what were the symptoms, what were the causes? But thing is I thought, okay, well, maybe it's just it could be just old bike syndrome. I mean, this is a 15-year-old machine, so maybe it happens from time to time, but maybe it's correlated to something mechanical. So if it's something electrical, that's one thing, but if it's something mechanical, that's another. Power-wise, trust me, I thought, okay, maybe one of my injectors, my injectors are crudted or whatever. Maybe I got bad gas in there. I don't think it's bad gas. I do throw in octane booster every now and then, and I usually about every 3 tanks I throw in a fuel injector cleaner, which the bike runs like beautiful on that. But it seems like the timing's slightly out. So my hunch is maybe my cam chain is a little bit loose. Maybe it jumped a tooth. But yeah, and I've heard of people talk about this problem, and it's like, oh yeah, well, it's fine at 5,000, 4,000, 5,000, 3,000. You notice it. You don't notice it as much at 3,000 RPM, but you notice it between 4 and 5, where you're just at that RPM where it's really noticeable that it's hesitating. But when you go to 6, 7, you don't notice it as much. But if you know what to listen for, yeah, it's still there. I mean, I took the bike up to 10 today. I haven't done that in a while. I forgot to shift gears. I was in second gear when I did it. It's like, I'm doing a wheelie. Oh, oops. Power wheelie. It wasn't a high wheelie. I'm trying not to wheelie this bike at all because I want to keep the front end good. I don't want to blow out my fork seals, right? I don't ride like that because I got to make this bike last as long as possible, right? Until I get another bike. Then once I have a second bike, then yes, I'll hooligan a little bit more, but you shouldn't be hooliganing it anyway. But I'm in second gear and I take it 7, 8, 9, 10. It's like, oh, the front wheel's in the air. Yeah, there we go. It's like, yeah. It's like, it will get that pull your arms off feel. So the power's still there. I mean, the power's there. So then I got going up on the road. I didn't go too crazy, but I went a little bit of Isle of Man-ish, figuring maybe my injectors are clogged and maybe it just needs a good run to clean them out. Come down to low speed, same thing. So it's going to be something probably mechanical. Now, what I got to do, and of course it always happens when you don't want it to happen. All the exciting stuff is about to start. I mean, today is the second day of summer, and my bike, ride number 45, I want to do at least 200, and I'm not actually upset. Believe it or not, I'm not upset. I'm disappointed, but I'm not upset. But the problem is I don't want to call my season. You know, it's like, oh, geez, I got to go to Luskville Drag Strip. I got to go watch the Superbike Championship. I want to go and hopefully this weekend see a powwow if I can find one. There's a mud run going on if all else fails. But this is going to be one of those things that July 1st is coming up. From the making of this video, today's the 22nd of June. For July 1st, there's going to be a lot going on, and I really want to be able to capture a lot of stuff, so I want to make sure the bike's running great. So I think what I might have to do is make the executive decision to basically not ride the bike until I've timed it. Now, the problem I have is I don't have a shop manual for this thing. I know how to time an engine, but I haven't done it in about 30 years, so maybe not quite 30 years, maybe 25 years since I last timed an engine, so I'm going to take my time with it. And there does seem to be a lot of internet stuff out there for valve timing for these things, cam chain timing. So I'm going to do all that. And then if that's not it, the other thing, I mean, it could be spark plug related. I don't know. I don't want to just start buying stuff because, again, I'm on the tightest of budget. It's going to be anywhere from $44 to $88 for spark plugs for these things, for this bike. So, or 80 some odd. It's like they're between how much? Between $11 and $18 a spark plug for this bike. Okay, so I don't want to just buy spark plugs and that not be the problem. But if there's another major problem, I don't know if it's the fuel mapping. It could be, but I don't think it is. The IACV valve, the intake air control valve, I know is kind of problematic on these bikes, and they do have a finickiness. Maybe I lost one of my, the little vacuum tubes that come out of that. They're notorious for cracking. When they're cracking, you get a rough running bike. So maybe when it runs rough, it screws up other things in the, the fuel air mixture doesn't know what it's doing, and then it just, maybe it makes the bike think it's in startup mode again or something like that. So I'm going to have to pull this off. Long story short is I got to pull the bike apart for the next couple of days. I will start with the IACV valve. Other thing is the fuel pump might be, again, you never know what the gas you buy nowadays. You can get pretty cruddy gas. So I got to drain the tank, clean out this is the stuff I wish I would have been able to do during the winter, but like working in here in the winter in minus 30 weather, it's like, no, you can't do that. You can't really work in the house with it, stinky gas stuff, whatever. So I have to do it now. I have to take basically a week off of riding. So wish me luck, guys. Hopefully it's just tune-up problems. I'm right at that 35,000 kilometer range on this bike. When I bought it was 27,000 kilometers, 27,270 kilometers, and at 35,000, that's pretty much the full service. Now, I'm assuming that the bike was fully serviced when I bought it because of the way it ran. I mean, it just ran so smooth, started so good. But now that the weather's over 20 degrees every day, the bike starts fine. Like, I don't have to touch the throttle or nothing. So, I don't know what that is. I do know, like I was talking earlier, that when it was below, say, 19 degrees Celsius, the bike was hesitant to start. You had to hold the throttle on for the first few minutes. Now, would a thermostat screw up your running? Could that do it? I don't think it could, but maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But I don't know. I don't think it's a head gasket. Who knows? Maybe I have a weak valve spring or maybe a bent valve in there. I hope it's nothing like that. If it is, then that pretty much terminates my riding season, which please don't be that, Pegasus. Don't be that. So wish me luck on that. I'll document everything I find. So if somebody else, because I'm on the Facebook TT 600 appreciation page, and I know there's some guys like they get these bikes and they're finicky. They're good, they're reliable, but they're finicky reliable. If you know what I mean. It's kind of like it'll run, but it's always doing something that what the hell's it doing, and then it runs perfect. You know, it's like it's one of those strange bikes. But you know, it could be just design flaws. So I'm gonna maybe the IACV valve is dirty on it. I cleaned the air box a couple of weeks ago. The air filter in it is brand new. Like, I mean, there's no. I know. Although I went through a couple of dust clouds, graders and tractor trailers on the side of the road, they're just kicking up massive dust storms. Yeah, I got sucked through a couple of those, but that hasn't really affected it. I think the airbox is doing its job, but if the IACV valve hose is off, that could be some of the strange running. And maybe it's not. Maybe it's just one cylinder that's kind of running rough. I could have a bad injector in there. To test all this stuff. I'm looking at 40 hours worth of work, probably. By the time I take the tank off, okay, and get the IACV valve inspected, that's going to be a couple of hours right there. Just taking off the fairings about half an hour job, so you don't lose everything. And I got to disconnect the lights and all that. So I'm looking at a couple of days of downtime anyway. Hopefully, if I can do everything, hopefully I can do it within 3 days. Now, while I have the bike apart, I don't know how you would test spark plugs. Maybe my spark plugs are fouled up. Maybe I have an injector that's too rich. I don't know. So it looks like I'm going on a treasure hunt here with this bike. Will it go back on the road again? The good news out of it, if I do have to pull the season, God, I hope not. That's gonna be I'm gonna be a very miserable person on that. You know, if that's my diagnosis. But I can't ride it the way it is because. Yeah, I could run the thing in the ground, then I got to buy a new bike next year, which I don't have the money to do. If I have to pull it this for the season, I'll pull it for the season. I mean, I got at least I got a season. You know, at least I got probably 44 runs on this bike. Okay, I didn't do a lot of major runs on it, but 44 runs is pretty good. You know, like that's a little less than half of what I did last year. But I was hoping to get 200. It's just. You know, it's like, right now the weather's starting to get nice. You want to be out and cruising around and all that. So whatever I diagnose with this bike, I'll let you guys know, and I'll document it as I do it. So that's going to slow me down. But basically, I'm going to have to do a full mechanical tune-up to eliminate that, so that I know it's. And I got to get out my feeler gauge. Maybe my cam. You know, I could have a bad cam in there. I don't think it's that. It doesn't seem like it's that. Maybe the cam chain is just loose. I mean, it's a little more clacky. Again, it's a 15-year-old bike, right? So, and that cam chain is right at that, you know, interval where they recommend you change it. So if they recommend you change a cam chain in your bike at 35,000 clicks, usually people will do it at like 60,000. You know, they'll run it out. So I'll check that. Maybe if I'm lucky, that's all it is. It's mechanical and just a timing issue. I don't run the bike that hard. This year I've been really, really good with this bike. Today was probably the hardest. I run the bike just to see if there was a difference. I know you shouldn't do that when it's doing something funny, but I can't have it doing that crazy pogo thing while I'm in a turn. I mean, that's going to kill me. Or kill somebody else, you know, or kill both of us. I don't know. Yeah, I can't have that kind of hesitation where it's like, and then you know, you get a burst of power. Even if it's not a lot of burst of power, you know, when you're in a turn, you want a smooth throttle. So the bike seems to be running rough. I'm pretty sure it's nothing to do with the chassis. There's nothing loose. There's nothing. That would give me that vibration. And of course, I can, from an audio point of view, I can hear the exhaust note is not that smooth, silky smooth Triumph sound that I had when I bought the bike. It's clearly starting to sound rough. So what's making it sound rough? That's what I got to find. Maybe if I'm lucky, it's just spark plugs. It's $100 fix by the time you add up taxes, anywhere from a $80 to $100 fix. But before I put $80 to $100 into something that's not broken, maybe the spark plugs are fine on this. My understanding when I bought it from the Triumph dealership is there was everything, all the service stuff was done. So basically, new oil, chain, sprockets. My chain and sprockets are fine. it was a full tune-up when I got it, I'm pretty sure. But does this bike, if you're one of those people that own one of these bikes, specifically the TT600, like 12,000 kilometers, 8,000 kilometers, were you doing tune-ups that soon? And again, not really, like last year, yes, I was a little hard on the throttle last year, just because it was a new bike. But this year I've been, like 5,000, 6,000, very, very rarely taking it to 7,000 RPM, and then once in a while I might blip it up to 10 or 11. I haven't opened it up. I haven't opened the throttle full this year at all. On this bike you don't really need to. You can have fun at any speed on this bike. It handles so nice. Yeah, so I think if I want to get the rest of the season out of it, I'm going to have to discipline myself, get the tank off of it. I will start with the IACV valve. If those little boot things are cracked, then those hoses might be about 10 to 40 bucks a piece. Who knows? So if I find broken parts in it, that's one thing. And I know those hoses are notorious for doing that. So maybe I can get a quick fix on that, and I don't know, shrink tube where the broken little plastic is. Once I get in there, I'll show you one step at a time. It's just going to be playing process of elimination to find out what's going on with this machine. And I don't want to wait till it's so bad that I've actually damaged something. So, I mean, it still rides pretty good. I can still ride it, but it's like, do it now while it's easy, So I hope it's not the end of my season, because if I do find something major, even the spark plugs, I mean, that puts me out a week or so, or well, like I say, I get paid really once a month from YouTube. So it's kind of one of those things that if it's out, I'm off the road for that time. And if I'm going to be spending July off the road, well, I might as well call the season and cancel the insurance and get a little bit of that money back, and maybe put it towards next year or whatever. We'll see what happens. So I'll document it as I go. I thought I'd keep you guys updated on it. Vehicles are vehicle. It happens. I remember my first bike when it broke down, I was so upset and stuff like that. But I'm at that age now. I'm in my 40s now, so I just expect things to just let you down somewhere. It's like the only thing I don't want is that, for example, I don't want to break down somewhere because I don't have the money for the towing. This is why one of the advices I got to anybody getting into motorcycling, whatever motorbike it is, things happen. This could happen to a brand new bike too. Sometimes there's design flaws. Sometimes you just hit the right pothole that sets something out of whack, and whatever, the intake takes in a bug or a piece of gravel or something. Things happen, right? So if you can have yourself $1,500 kind of backup fund, it's a good idea. I don't care if it's a brand new bike or not. It's the idea that if I'm out somewhere far and I have to get towed back, I'm looking at $150 to $200 to get towed back, right? So I really don't want to have to deal with that when I don't have the money to deal with that, because that puts me on such a wire that, and I'm talking about any vehicle right now. I just don't have the money, but the bike is bought and paid for, so I don't have payments and stuff on it, which is nice. So if I have to take my time with it, I'll take my time with it. I have a few other... I've been also thinking about what the future of this bike's going to be. This bike may turn into a track bike, especially if my money stays low. But what was going to make that decision was a run to Calabogie and watch the World Superbike or regional Superbike or whatever to see that what would it cost to do a couple of track days with this thing. I'm looking at probably about $200 to $400 a day to do track day. So if I did like one track day a year with this, it'd be, I'd be fine with that. But I'd need another vehicle to ride, in order to dedicate this one to a track. Because I would really like to see what this thing would do on a track. I can't open it up on the streets legally. Obviously, these super sports are just way too fast, way too powerful. And I really don't want to do knee down stuff on the streets either. Again, I'm not a reckless rider. Yeah, I'll open it up once in a while. But I know I can't use the machine to its full potential on the street safely, so I don't push that. But if I could turn it into a track bike, and then that would be really cool. I think this thing would just fly through the corners so gracefully. But first things first, can I even just keep it on the road? So anyway, guys, wish me luck. I'm hoping that this isn't the end of my season on ride number 44. At least I got some rides out of it. This is season number 2 with this bike. I just hope it's not, the financial part of it's going to keep me back. So then, if I have to fix it up, then it's next year it goes back on the road, or if there's another bike, or it becomes a track bike, whatever. We'll see what happens. It's a great little bike. I really do like it. Maybe it's just a case of old bike syndrome, and it's just the finickiness that you have to. I do know the bike does not like riding in the hot weather. The other day was over 38 degrees or whatever. Today it's just beautiful. But in the 38 degrees, that's when it did the weird thing with the dash. But that was less than a week ago, and it did it again. So I don't know. Sometimes when a motorcycle picks up a symptom, it's like it's an isolated incident, and then all of a sudden you start to see, every couple of weeks it happens. Then every couple of rides it starts happening. Then it happens a couple of times every ride. You have a problem you got to fix, and I don't want to die on this thing. I enjoy it too much. I know everything will kill you, so pick something fun. I get that, but if I know it's going to lead me to, I'm not going to have the stress of riding it and be distracted. The thing I don't like is when I'm riding and I'm distracted by the machine. I don't want every ride to be a test ride. I want to get on there. Like when I ride on this thing, okay, I'm not even looking at the bike. I'm just looking at the road, way ahead. That's what I want to focus. I don't want to have to. I want to be able to ignore the bike while I'm riding it, so to speak. So I'm not, is the oil light coming on, stuff like that. The oil light doesn't come on this, but just as an idea, why is it running rough? And then you're always, your concentration is on why is it running rough, not what's on the road. And I don't want to be distracted by that. So if I have to call a season, I'll call a season. Anyway, yeah, sorry, I had to get this vent out there. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. So wish me luck. I'll keep you guys updated. Yeah, that's the way Murphy works. All right, have a good one, eh?